Now, after our installation process and the activation of the license, we have this simple network that is the example that TouchDesigner put in every new file that we create. So let's check what we have here. In this case, we are beginning with a pixel content or texture, how it's called here in TouchDesigner. And we also have a shop operator or channel operator. That means that we have numbers here. In this case, those numbers are being visualized in this graphic, but anyway, we are talking about numbers. Those numbers are being interpreted on pixels, and this is the result when we translate one kind of information to another from one family. That is the way that we call the different groups of operators that we can tell the difference by the color code. So all the texture operators or pixels are this violet, and all the shop operators or channel operators are green, like here. So those two operators are from different families, but we can interact between those different families that at the end, that means that we are translating information from one kind to another. In this case, we are translating information that it's represented in numbers to pixels. In this case, those pixels are interpreted from white to black. In this case, it's from 1 to 0 or 0 to 1, it depends, where 1 is the highest white value and the 0 is the lowest value. In this case, those two elements are being integrated in a single operator, and this single operator it's making a deformation of the first image based in the behavior of the wave of this operator. So for example, if we change a few parameters in this box that we will find in the corner, you will see how the content change in real time depending the parameters that I'm changing here. After that, we see that this content is connected to a new box or to a new node. In this case, this is not exactly an operator, this is a container, and we can tell that difference because with the operators we cannot get inside them. But if we try to get inside a container, we are going to find another network inside. In this case, we find elements that are 3D, for example, those that are blue in the family of surface operators or SOPs. And we find here a box, look. And also we find another kind of operator that are those that are like yellow, that are the family of materials that just work with operators from the 3D world or surface operators, but also needs to be fit with information from pixels like the texture operators in the violet family. After that, the result is this, that we have 3D object that it's a box with the material that it's being created in real time before in that network. And after that, we have here just an out operator that help us to bring this information out of the content that we are in this moment. We always will be inside a content. For example, here, if I scroll up or if I press the letter U, I will go up and I will find that this box has exit, or an out. And this is because this last operator that we have here in our network. So in this case, we are just checking how is the simplest networks that we can find in TouchDesigner, but also is the right moment to talk about the flow-based programming. And this is something that I want to clarify first before get deeper in the software, because this is the conceptual base of all the paradigm that we are going to learn now. So the flow-based programming, it's a computer programming paradigm, and we can make a difference between the traditional way to program, that is the code programming that we'll know and understand in some way, but there is a big difference in the way that the things works and the way that the things are conceptualized, and also in the ways that we can interact with this language or with this new paradigm of thinking and solve problems. So this programming paradigm was developed or discovered by J. Paul Rutger Morrison in the 60s. The main concepts are basically divided in three elements. Those boxes that he calls black box, where the process are being made inside. The information package, that it's the way that our information flow through the network, and the connectors, that are the way that we can interact between the different operators or nodes in our network. He make a metaphor and explain that concept with this example, that it's that we can imagine soft drink bottling factory where we have a chain and every step makes one specific task. In this case, we have an empty bottle that is positioned in the chain. The chain is moving, and when it's moving, it's going to flow through all the process. When it crosses to the first box in the filler, is getting inside empty, and at the end it's going outside filled. The chain keeps moving, and in the next box the bottle that it's already filled is going to get inside without the cap, and it's going out with the cap. The chain keeps moving, and now the bottles that now have the cap get inside the next box, the labeler, and the bottle get outside the box with the label. So that's the way the process in the flow-based programming paradigm works. Every box has a specific task, and it doesn't matter the way how it's working inside. What we really care is how the information is getting inside and how it's going to be flowing outside for the next operator or for the next node. And we can connect every box with different and multiple operators at the same time. This is how we are going to think our creation and our solving process from now to begin with the TouchDesigner and with the flow-based programming logic and methodology. After this little introduction, you can get deeper. You will find all these links in the platform. So I really recommend that you check all this content. It's really interesting. And we also will be talking more about this in the next sessions, because the methodology that we are going to implement in our learning process is based on the flow-based programming. So now we can go back to our TouchDesigner project and see how that metaphor of the drink bottling factory, you know what we were talking about, works here, because we have two elements that are getting like raw, like ingredients, that it's an image and it's a wave. The two elements needs to be integrated in one operator that makes one task, that create a deformation of all the content that is connected in the first input with the behavior of the web that it's create and translate to the shop 2 and it's connected to the second input. In this case, we have this product, and the next step is this one where we can put all the information and convert it in a material for a 3D element, and at the end we have again the same content, but we have it also available out of our container. So this is how the information flows in this kind of programming paradigm, that it's flow-based programming, but it's also called visual programming, because we can also understand how the things are going in real time. And this is a really good opportunity to make inverse engineering, because we can find projects that were already developed for somebody that we don't know, we just find it in the internet, but we can find the way that they created and that they connect all the elements to make it happen, just going in reverse. So I can find from here, and I can understand that this came from this operator, that it's not just an operator, it's also a container, and I can get inside, and there inside is happening something, and I can understand why this is the final product of this container, and how this material is also working previously of the container till the very beginning here. So this is also one of the techniques that we are going to be using through all the course and the workshops to train the way that you are going to understand the TouchDesigner projects when you have to face them. And now we are going to use another project that I have already made, and you also will have it available in the platform. Here is just like a little example of the elements that we have in TouchDesigner. In this moment, in this session, we are not going to be really deep in the way that every element works. We are going to understand the difference of every family, and we are going to understand the way that we can interact with all these kinds of different information. And it's really important that you understand what is happening in every part of the software, because now you have to step in one of those areas. We can use all the elements, of course, for different solutions, but maybe if you are more related with the 3D world, you will be more in this part of the program. But if you are more related with programming or user interfaces or integrating with different APIs, you will more related with this kind of families, that is the DAT families. If you are creating more visual in real times, for example, you will be more related with the top and the shops. And if you are focusing UI or user interfaces design, for sure you will be here focused in the components. So the first step of this process for the first session is to understand this part of the program. You will think about how this is related with your task, with your labor in the company, And in that way, we are going to understand better how we have to structure the next sessions to make more efficient the content.